All right, cool. So up first we have Thomas Bradley. Yeah. So your discussion that you submitted is slightly different to this one, is it?
No. I'll just mention the startup at the start.
Very good.
I founded Clann AI. So currently, in order to track data like distance covers in football games, amateurs use hardware tracking devices. Clann AI has created a system whereby we can track players using computer vision, therefore negating the requirement for hardware devices. This is our websites. We have 10 teams currently using our websites. This is a nice example of that. So this guy's going to do the touch runs, nice little touch run, and we can track the distance. And that was the fastest, 8.5. That was the fastest throughout the 90 minutes. So that's what we do, and we plug in on top of these type of cameras. There's a lot more coming in the pipeline. This ceiling here, in terms of what you can do with computer vision and AI, like this is just a start. We're using AI to literally generate the data. The true utility of it is actually understanding the games. So you feed that data in terms of basic tracking data, and then you have your actual events data. And the system we're currently working on is getting LLMs to relate those so you can find patterns. It's pretty cool, it really is. And it's class that because that's automated, amateurs can have it. Like it's a system that exists, we create it. There's no ceiling on the pipeline side. But yeah, the reason I wanted to mention that is because we're at quite a pivotal stage. We're looking to raise, we're building our team. This is my contact details. We'll keep an eye out for anyone that's interested in this product. If you have any friends that are interested, that might be wanting to work on something like this, we're looking to grow our team, we're looking to raise, please contact me on LinkedIn. And now for my true passion, what I actually care about, something called FEMES. So I made this word up, FEMES. I did physics at university. I've been full-time with Clann AI for the last 6 months. But for 4 or 5 years before that, I had an initiation about evolution. Does anyone know what the fine-tuning problem is? If you've heard of it, can you show your hands? Fine-tuning problem in physics? Come on. Why do laws of physics have the form that they do, and why is that form conducive to complex light? If you change the form of the laws of physics, so there's 20 constants in physics, if you change any other values in a massive space, the vast majority of transformations to those values destroy the capacity of our universe to support complex life. Why does that happen? I had an intuition like 4 years ago that evolution solves that problem, because evolution is what explains specificity in reality at every other level of abstraction. Therefore, the specificity in physics is unexplained. Evolution solves that. But marrying that with contemporary physics is a truly difficult problem. I feel like I have a solution. The proposal in the paper that I wrote a year ago is that FEMES exist. They're fundamental replicators. Does anyone know what these are? Please show it. DNA, yeah. These are okay, neurons, okay. And this is a computer chip. These are the 3 substrates in reality that can embody replicators. Your genes, everyone has them inside their body. They're replicating information structure. They cause the form of your body. Memes are, your brain is composed of neurons. The wiring and firing of those neurons can embody information. That information can replicate. So if I give a thumbs up sign, everyone looks at this, your brain all creates the information representing the thumbs up. Therefore, I've essentially replicated the information structure of a thumbs up in every person's head. That's how replication and evolution happens at this level of abstraction. Teams are computers, everyone downloads the same software. That's how teams work. So these are well accepted in contemporary theory. My work proposes that FEMES exist. FEMES are a new replicator in reality, and if it's true, it's a paradigm shift in physics. So this conjecture, from my perspective, feels like a small step in logic from these 4 theories: evolutionary theory, information theory, constructor theory, and Wolfram physics. But it is a giant leap in perspective, because if you integrate FEMES, it shows that the heat death of the universe will not occur. It means that we can edit the fundamental laws of physics. It solves the fine-tuning paradox. Everyone knows what that means. It negates the foundation for simulation theory. Like, simulation theory is a genuine thing that big time physicists talk about because it's inferred in modern physics. I'll explain how. But this work says that it's not necessarily true. And then we give 4 falsifiable predictions. Every theory needs predictions, this one has them. Okay, so that's my introduction section done. Now I'm going to basically say, here's a bit more on each of these ideas. I'll just go through them, explain them, and then once we have that understanding, go back and say why it's a very small step in logic from these ideas to suggest the existence of FEMES. Evolutionary theory. This is Richard Dawkins. Has anyone seen him before this talk? I'm really sort of engaged how much. Yeah. Okay, so evolution. And then if anyone has a background in physics, please raise your hands also. No? Okay, thank you. So it's like more of the evolution explanations. Yeah, we're introduced to these. Evolution occurs whenever replicators can go through imperfect replication and selection of information. Darwin originally came up with it, Dawkins did a very good job of formalising it. And the key idea that will break a lot of confusion here, you kind of think, oh, where are DNA? What do they cause? It's quite a nuanced understanding. This symbol will be used throughout the talk to say that this causes and recreates itself, but genes interact with the reality and cause transformations that result in these forms. Trees, spiders, our bodies. Memes, philosophy, and the thumbs up teams, the form of the way this looks. And then information theory. This is Alan Shearer. If anyone's seen the imitation game with Benedict Cumberbatch. And this is von Neumann. Von Neumann, he was at Los Alamos, but they didn't show him in Oppenheimer. He's a pretty big thing. These two people are two of the many people who formalized information theory. And what they said is, we have all these different, disparate kind of ideas of what science is, like we have philosophy, maths, whatever. But these people broke it down and said what actually exists and what all these different branches are is just information. And then that's where later physicists come in and say, right, we have physics, and that's a different thing. But this was pretty big in like the 70s, the saying it from that. It was the realization that all of physics, including Einstein's work and quantum mechanics, and even quantum field theory, which are the most well-verified theories, they give the best predictions. It's actually a kind of fallacy. Everyone who works in them, like Richard Feynman, he talks about the fact that we have these theories and give us incredible predictions, but they are just definitely wrong. And the reason they are definitely wrong is because they all exist in continuous spaces. Information doesn't exist in continuous space. Information has to be discrete. And just to relate it kind of nicely in the future, Wolfram Physics is the physics project that takes that idea really seriously and says, reality must be discrete and computable because it's information. How's that going to happen? We'll leave that for a minute and then just come back to constructor theory. Tim knew this guy, and this guy has a 400-page book. Tim had read it. I was going to talk about Clann AI, the startup, but he was like, nah, this is cool. Talk about this. Constructor theory is an idea by David Deutsch. He came up with the first ever quantum algorithm, like the first ever proof that quantum computers could give speed ups compared to classical computation was the Deutsch-Joschka algorithm in 1993. This is Martinello. They worked on constructor theory together. In 2011, what it does is really formalize how information theory and physics interrelate and properties of information theory that guide how physics must behave. That's constructor theory. There's a couple of really, really simple, clean ideas from constructor theory. And here you are. Knowledge is defined as anything that tends to remain in an environment. Anything that embodies knowledge and tends to remain is a constructor. Everyone knows what enzymes are. Platinum is an enzyme in this reaction. It exists in the liquid. It tends to remain. So whenever you have information interacts, there can be certain things that tend to remain while everything else is deleted. The good example of that is the glider. Once you instantiate the glider in the game of life, that form will remain through time. That doesn't occur for the vast majority. So this little subset of things will remain whenever you instantiate them. This is an example of something that does not remain. the structure dissipates. And then once these things are formed, these blinkers, then they remain. So that's what knowledge is. Whenever I'm talking about this, you guys might be like, oh, this is pseudoscience because you're talking about like thumbs up and things like this. It's so general. But these guys, the reason their work is so valuable is because it really formalizes the idea that it's genuine science, that it's physics, because it's information theory. And one of the important things is the way you define objects is that what's actually happening here is every single grid is being updated by a row, and that determines the evolution of this. But then objects are formally defined as things that you can say there's a new update, namely that this moves 4 steps every 4 iterations. So objects are defined by the fact that they have properties. So you don't need to update and run through this whole computation. You can essentially jump forward in time with a less expensive computation because you can define objects and properties. So yeah, this slide shows that knowledge is hardly vary. Another principle of constructor theory, the last principle of constructor theory, is that all knowledge is parochial and fallible. So whenever you vary the update rule, the glider is the leader. Knowledge is anything that tends to remain. For any knowledge, there are an infinite number of environments in which it will survive and propagate, and there are an infinite number in which it will fail to survive and propagate. Everything is fallible. There's no structure that is universally superior. And my original message to, I keep going on about that, but my original message to him was, FEMES disprove God. The reason that's not really true, but because it's not unique to FEMES. The idea is actually from Dutch. This principle that everything is finite and limited to some environment, and there are an infinite number of other environments in which it isn't superior, shows why ideas like God are irrational, because there can't be universal superiority. It's like a fallacy. So that's constructor theory. How these ideas relate to physics is the last piece of background that we do. It's reasonably in-depth, but it's got a really cool payoff. This is Wolfram physics. This is what reality is, apparently. It's something called a hypergraph, and it's updated by some update rule. And then the same way we define properties, remember from the game of life, it's the exact same formalization. So quantum mechanics is like what's called numerically reducible parsing of a reality. It's essentially a shortcut through time that allows you to predict the output. It's the exact same as this, and the symmetries carry on further. So that's our background done. This is the perspective presented in the Wolfram Physics project, and this is the reason that I'm able to formally tie in the initiation that evolution solves physics with real physics because of this formalization of reality. That quantum mechanics and general relativity are numerically reducible parsings of this environment. That's the update rule, and that's called a theory of everything. That's what we're searching for in physics. My whole point is that this has to be wrong. So I'm currently talking with the Wolfram Institute because this model of reality is inconsistent. It doesn't make sense. And the reason it doesn't make sense is because if you look at the game of life like this and just say this is what exists, there's no mechanism for the transformation propagating through time. Why does that transformation propagate through time? It's not a constructor in this perspective. It is only a constructor whenever you include the team. So this is what stores the form of the update rule. And that's what creates the reality. So that's where simulation theory comes in. So why the hell would this theory of everything exist at all? There must be something that propagates it through time, and that's where physicists answer by saying, oh, maybe the universe is actually on a computer because Einstein's laws aren't written anywhere. It's strange. It's like we have all these laws for how things work, but in order for information to guide how information behaves, it needs to be instantiated somewhere. And it doesn't make sense to say that Einstein's laws are instantiated anywhere in reality. Point is, this is the perspective that you gain. But what my work does is reformulate it and say that's not the only way to store information. Another way you can store information is by reformulating it to have actual constructors and replicators that exist in reality that interact to cause this transformation. The exact same way the body is a transformation caused by genes, and the genes propagate through time. Something really important I didn't mention was von Neumann predicted the existence of DNA in 1930 before Watson and Crick discovered it in the 40s, because he says that from the principles of information theory, there must be a structure in any organism that is a code for the assembly of that organism. My work says the exact same thing, but for fundamental reality. It must embody a code for its own self-assembly. Yeah, so this is the new perspective we get in reality. There are 4 abstract replicators. Genes form organisms, themes form the updates in your phones. Memes form all of our behaviours and guide our actions. And themes interact to cause the transformation that we describe as the laws of physics. Here's what we get. Themes existed, genes existed, memes and themes. And they interact to cause these forms. Yeah, that's what we end up with, this perspective. And it's quite strange working this. I've talked to a lot of physicists, and it's just a strange environment because this is a paradigm shift, if it's correct. And I think it is. So either I'm delusional or I'm correct about something, which is quite daunting either way. Predictions from Negates. Error correcting codes are something that exists in every single replicator in reality, even in memes. So if I say he is a doctor who's respected for his work, you understand that a male doctor is good at his work, even if you miss the reference to either he or his. That's called an error correction code. So there's 2 bits of information which represent the same underlying bit of information. They exist in every single replicator that exists in reality. In 2011, they were discovered in fundamental supersymmetry equations, which is cool and supports this idea. But supersymmetry is not necessarily correct. The prediction is that if themes exist, they must embody error correcting codes. Themes are fallible, all knowledge is fallible. That's a principle of information theory and constructor theory. Therefore, we must be able to change the laws of physics, which is completely at odds with, again, primary theory. And heat death is not inevitable, which I find really good. I remember being in the kitchen when I was like 10 years old with my mother. We were watching a Brian Cox documentary. He was like, in like 40 billion years, the universe just dies out. Nothing exists. I was like, what the hell? That's terrible, dude. This is good, and that shows that that's not necessarily true. Themes will also be able to create a copy of themselves, which will be experimentally verifiable somehow. No one knows. Like, theory and experiments don't come at the same time. So the idea is that they must be able to cause a copy of themselves. How that is experimentally proven, I don't know. And then the kind of subtle one, the ability to support complex life is knowledge. It's hard to vary and hard to come by. And it resolves life functioning would be a thing. But the main thing, that's a side project. If anyone cares about Clann AI, I'm open. Thanks very much.
One or two questions? Alright, so we've just to speed up, well, actually, you choose first. See if it's more interesting.
Where'd you get the name themes?
It's very simple. It's just theme. The suffix means like replicator, and just fundamental.
Okay.
Yeah, on it.
Yeah, so with genes, when we see errors, right, you might be a frame shift or point mutation, right, you can clearly see what the ramification of that error is.
Mm-hmm.
With themes, what would be this ramification of an error?
It's impossible to know, the same way you don't know, even though you have like a theory of genetics, you don't know what change in the genetic code, the transformation that will result in.
Right.
But that's as far as I can go.
Gotcha. Thank you.
The point is carving out what exact transformations is the theory of everything is the challenging part. That's why I'm talking to the open physics people. They haven't updated it, but the nuance thing is that the transformation caused is different than the structure that causes it.
Okay.
It's quite a difficult relationship, and it's kind of irreducible what the nature of that relationship is.
Got it. Thank you.
So given the fine-tuning problem, and you're saying that the laws of physics, the fundamental ones, are immutable, does that mean that technically we could all just spontaneously cease to exist at any point?
Yeah, but error correction.
So, you know, live, go.
There's a lesson. But error correction is like, no, because Shannon, another guy in information theory, said if you have good enough error correction, you can like negate the possibility of like you can make it 100% not true that there will be an error because you have enough error correcting mechanisms before that.
So it's out.
Yeah. It's mental, you can change them, but it'll be difficult to do because error correcting should mean that they're stable.
You said that this proved God, and I have a religious friend I'm really trying to piss off. Can you go more into that?
It's super simple in terms of information theory, and understanding it means that there can't be any structure which is universally superior. It's in computer science in like the 80s. There's something called the no free lunch theorem. The no free lunch theorem says that there's no algorithm that has universally superior performance on the space of all problems. It's essentially a reformulation of that. Just like that's computer science, and information theory is like they generalize computer science and everything else. But yeah, everything has to be fallible. God isn't fallible. Doesn't make sense.
Well, 2 more questions.
Yeah. Green. Half of yeah.
What did David Deutsch say about it?
David Deutsch, I haven't talked to him. I've emailed him about 100 times. The only person I really got through to is Stephen Wolfram. I met him just before Christmas and then made him again. But David Deutsch is incredibly hard to get after, and he doesn't have much. Like he works independently in Oxford, so it's difficult. But I would love to know. I'd love to find out. That's
Twitter DM, rock up to the lab.
Sorry?
Rock up to the lab.
Yeah, I consider it.
People interested can circle back later, but
Yeah.
thanks. Tom.
So I
That's great.
appreciate it very much. Thanks, guys.